Welcome to another live episode of the Wisco Fanatics Show, where we discuss the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, Badgers football, and basketball from an optimistic perspective. Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
Never gets old.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. I got kind of a jam-packed episode today, but we got to start with a couple things. First of all, today is January 24th, meaning today is the 3-year anniversary of the Wisco Fanatics page, which is cool. Jake and I have been talking about Wisconsin sports for a little over 3 years, but the page itself is 3 years old. We started it as kind of an offshoot from a different outlet that we were working with at the time, and now it's just us working on our own. And we have some guys with us like Mike and Simon and Bryant who join us for some content, which is awesome. And we've had a lot of awesome guests over the first 3 years of the show, which, every time something bigger happens, it's just all comes from a place when we were just a couple dudes with some notebooks talking about the Packers a little bit.
What a unique opportunity we've kind of created for ourselves. Getting to talk to our buddy Mike every week during Badger football and Badger basketball, getting to talk to Simon and Bryant literally almost every day during the Packer season. I mean, we've really met a lot of cool people. I mean, Nick is one of the nicest people that I've ever met, in my opinion. He obviously is one of our sponsors, Cardboard Legacy. If you're interested, go check them out, man. They're awesome people over there. But we've just had so many cool opportunities. I've been to Brewers games, Packers games, but we haven't even been to any Bucks games yet. You guys went to the launch. I was not able to attend with car problems, but I mean, just a lot of cool stuff that we've done. Really honing in on the thing that we love, which is sports, right? So, congratulations to you, congratulations to me, Mike. Thanks for coming along, man. It's just it's a day of love, man. I'm feeling it now. You set me up.
And I would add Tyler from Wisco Ball in there. I have to give him a special thanks. He gave me a handful of Wisco Fanatics shirts to bring down to the Senior Bowl, which takes me to my next order of business, and that is that Monday I leave for the Senior Bowl, which I'm super excited for. And it's just another one of those things where when we started talking about the NFL draft a lot and, really diving into prospects and stuff, it wasn't something where I was in okay, 2 years from now, I'm going to be going down to Mobile, Alabama to watch seniors and draft-eligible juniors who are trying to boost their draft stock and getting to talk to them as a credentialed member of the media. Wasn't remotely on my radar 2 years ago when we started doing a lot of draft prep. And now here we are. So that said, I want to thank everybody who participated in buying raffle tickets for our 50-50 raffle. Friends, family members, coworkers, I appreciate it. The winner is going to take home $125. So I appreciate, again, everybody who was willing to get into it. So I got this good old Brewers helmet. Shout out to the Brewers who signed Rhys Hoskins to play first base next year. Also, that is a very cool thing that we will discuss when we get into Brewers primer time. But Jake and Mike, I'm gonna shuffle them up here. You guys tell me when to stop, and the one that I'm touching is gonna be the winner. So
call it, Mikey. Call it, Mikey. Call it.
Stop.
Todd McLaughlin. That is my coworker, Todd.
Hey, congratulations,
Todd is the winner.
Good stuff.
He's going to be excited for that because I had to hassle him a little bit to get him to buy some tickets, so he'll be happy to hear that he won.
It was worth the hassle, huh?
Almost. He's like, remember this when I have raffle stuff for my kids. So he'll be happy to hear that he won. And again, I want to say thank you to everybody who did buy raffle tickets. I really appreciate it to help fund my trip. Hopefully the content that I'm able to produce while I'm down there next week is going to be worth it. And outside of the NFL draft coverage that I'm going to be doing while I'm down there, I'm also going to be with Javik Blake on next Wednesday before the show, and actually doing the show next week, which we're going to start at 6 p.m. Mike, I'm not sure if I didn't ask you if you're down for that yet, but next week's show is going to be at 6 p.m. Because I will be live from the Biloxi Shuckers Stadium, and I actually get to help break a little bit of news while I'm down there. So I'm excited to hang out with Javik. Had him on the show a couple times earlier in January when we were talking about guys like Jackson Churio and Tyler Black. So excited to meet him in person and hang out with him a little bit next Wednesday while I'm down there for the Senior Bowl. So again, thank you for everybody who participated in this. And yeah, we're going to talk about some Badger basketball. So let's get into it. Moving into the Badgers game against Indiana. So Mike, what 2 things stood out to you from Friday night's game?
Yeah. So first off, happy 3-year anniversary, guys. Had to call that out. That's really special. What you guys got going is pretty special. We've done the a launch together now. We've done the launch plus we've done the primer. And hopefully we can off of that too as the years go on here. So quick shout out there. Yeah. As far as the Indiana game goes, I mean, there's a lot of action here, right? But 2 main things I want to call out. I'm gonna start with the bench scoring actually. So. Tyler Wall was he got in foul trouble in this game, and we had to make up some ground for that, right? So, led by guys like Kamari McGee, 10 minutes, 4 points, 2 rebounds, 2 steals. Connor Sejan came in, 6 minutes, 4 points. Carter Gilmore played a decent game, 13 minutes, 14 points, 4 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. And to cap that all off, which kind of brings me into my second point, Mr. John Blackwell. He played 20 minutes. He had 12 points and he had 4 rebounds. And like I said, this is my second takeaway is John Blackwell. This guy, for a true freshman, he just understands the feel of the game. He's been getting to his spots. I've said that before pretty consistently on this show. And, for a true freshman, it's really impressive. And a big part of why he was big in this game is one of my calls last week was we need to get off to a fast start. Did that happen in this game? Absolutely not. We fell behind. I think it was 1-6 or like 1-7. And then, there you go. If you're bringing it up
I was gonna wait for you to be done talking, and then I can I'll let it play for you. But
that's okay. But no, John Blackwell comes in after a slow start. He scored 7 of the first 13 points for Wisconsin. One play in particular, that step back 3, which was pretty impressive. So that's what really got the crowd going. And to cap this off, we had the step back 3, then he had a nice reverse layup after that.
That's what this one is. If you want to talk about it specifically.
I do need to watch play it for me. So
Jake and I broke this one down last night, but
fake 2 guys out, goes past the third, just blows by 3 dudes for that reverse layup. And John Blackwell is definitely one of the most aggressive guys on the team when it comes to getting to the bucket. You could probably put AJ Storr in that category as well, but if he's not 1, he's 2. So kudos to him. And to top all this off, if this is the 3rd time this season, he is the freshman of the week in the Big Ten. He is the first Badger that has done that since guess who?
Johnny Davis.
Nope. Sam Decker?
A little after that.
I've got nothing.
Is it Chucky?
Before that. Trust me, you guys are he was one of the top scorers for sure. Okay. He wasn't the best free throw shooter. Tall guy, probably about 6'10", 6'9", 6'10", was good in the post.
Am I overthinking it?
Ethan Happ.
Oh, Ethan Happ.
Oh,
I was overthinking it.
Yeah.
I am overthinking
it. So first Badger since Ethan Happ to get the award 3 times in a season for a freshman. So, and, there's plenty of season to go where he very well could, pass that. So, John Blackwell, good game.
All righty, Jake. What 2 things stood out to you from the Indiana game?
Man, first of all, nice to just have a team that just collects Big Ten wins like it's nothing, right? Not that they're acting like it, but it's nice that we win on our home court, protect home court, and we moved to 500 on the road, 3-3 on the road. So nice to get wins on both areas. So the keys that I picked out, one was Stephen Crowell. He had 12 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. If you look at his rebounds compared to the team total, he had 32% of the team's rebounds, so 1/3 of the team's rebounds, and he had 57% of the team's assists. That's insane. So to say that a lot of the offense goes inside out is an understatement. It clearly does. They throw the ball into Tyler Wall. They throw the ball into Steven Crowell, and they trust those guys to make the right decision, either to shoot it or pass it. Tyler, plenty of times, has called out that the ball needs to move a little bit quicker, which I agree with. And when the ball moves quicker, and we actually broke down another play last night where it was Steven Crowell finding a cutting AJ Storr, and that was just an example of his playmaking ability. So shout out to him for moving the ball and rebounding well, which he needs to do at a little bit more consistent clip, in my opinion. So the next thing I picked out was field goal percentage, and I wanted to lump in three-point percentage. And the reason for that being is they shot 59.6% from the field and 47.6% from the three-point line. That is the fourth time this season they have shot at least 55% from the field and 45% from three. The other three games were Northwestern, Nebraska, and the first game of the year, Arkansas State. So recently, a lot of opponents we played, Northwestern and Nebraska, and now Indiana are on that list. So the Bucks are the Bucks. I've been talking about the Bucks so much the last day. They're in my brain. The Badgers are really starting to heat up. They're hitting their stride right in the middle of the season, when they're going to go through the gauntlet of the Big Ten schedule. So it's a good thing. They can really set themselves up nicely. Tyler and I were having a conversation about where they might end up seeding-wise. And right now, if they keep playing the way that they are, shooting the ball efficiently and defending, I mean, we're going to get into the Minnesota game. But for them to win a game scoring 91 and then win a game scoring 61, that just shows the versatility of this roster.
Yep. Yeah, and I'll talk a little bit more about it in Minnesota. I'll let Mike shine because he's going to talk about great guards. So I'll save it for that game. First, Max Klesman is seemingly inserting himself into being a takeaway every single game.
Right.
So I'm going to start with Max Klesman because Indiana at one point in the second half went on a 9-0 run. And then Max Klesman went nuclear and scored 20 straight Badgers points. That is wild.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely wild. He hit 2 threes. One of them was an and one to get 10 straight points, got a steal, made a left-handed layup, and then him and Carter Gilmore forced a travel. He got fouled, made 2 free throws. Sorry, that was a technical foul. Made the 2 free throws. Then he made an elbow jumper. That was 20 straight points. And then he stepped into a 3, rose up, and dished a perfect pass to Carter Gilmore. Yeah. That last play where he rose up and then dished to Carter Gilmore, that is the epitome of smart basketball. To know that you have just scored 20 straight points and you were going to have 5 sets of eyes on you and rising up like you're going to, pull a heat check and then just hitting the wide open man for a wide open layup. That's fantastic basketball by Max Klesman. I can't ask for anything more from him.
I think it caught everyone off guard too when he did that because it's like, all right, screw it. He's gonna
let it fly.
Push it up. Like you heard the crowd like during the game, like, oh, like I think it fooled everyone. It kind of fooled me too because I thought like catching suit, he's just gonna rocket fire. But no, that was one hell of a play, and it was an awe moment for sure.
Yeah, it's like, oh, here we go, and then it was, oh, good pass.
Yep.
In my opinion, you could tell that he was coached well growing up, making the right play.
Yeah, for sure. Unselfish play.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second thing that stood out to me was some bounce backs. So the Badgers themselves as a team, as a collective, lost to Penn State. They bounced back and got back into the win column in this game. So they ended up only going from 11 to 13, not a huge drop. Just again, goes to show that even the rankings can respect losing to a Big Ten team on the road. Record be damned. It's still the Big Ten. It's still college basketball on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have something to say about when we get to Minnesota, but I'll hold that off too. Then, 91 points after scoring 83. So the Wisconsin Badgers have 5 losses, but 2 of them were in a row. So in their 4 wins after a loss, they average 81 points.
Oh, damn.
So I will take that.
Yes. I like that.
Chucky Hepburn went 2 for 5 from the 3-point line after being 1 for his last 9. That's 40% compared to 11%.
It's a lot better.
A bounce back there. Carter Gilmore, 4 points after he had 23 minutes scoreless. He didn't take any shots in those 23 minutes, but 23 minutes of game time scoreless, he had 4 points. Kamari McGee had played 11 minutes in his last 3 games, had not taken any shots. He scored 4 points. And then 13 turnovers in the Penn State game, down to 9. That's below their season average. And steals. The Badgers only had 2 steals against Penn State. Ratcheted up to 8 against Indiana. Their season average is 6.1, so those 8 steals are a big bounce back from where they are against Penn State and where they are in the season. So moving into last night's game against Minnesota, Mike, what stood out to you from last night's game?
Yeah, this was kind of one of those games where it was similar to like how those games went last season, low scoring, just gritty, like type basketball in comparison to what you were just talking about, Tyler. So it was a game that, I've had recent memories of, especially in these last couple seasons. But my first takeaway here has got to be Tyler Wall. In my opinion, he was the MVP of this game. It definitely, like when Steven Crowell got in foul trouble because Minnesota, a lot of what they were trying to do is get the ball inside and just like punish us, in the paint down low. They did have their moments. So it was a good job. It was a good job for holding that up for the most part. I mean, at the end of the day, we gave up only 59 points, right? So, no, Steven Crowley had 2 fouls, so Tyler Wall had to step up, and he definitely did. 16 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 blocks. 2 of those blocks were in the final minute of the game, which were some of the most crucial moments, obviously. Tyler Wall hit 2 clutch free throws to go up 3. When we got to that moment where, should we follow up 3? Should we follow up 3? But no, that was, last year, I mean, I'm still a little hesitant when he shoots the free throws, but I feel much better this year than I do last year because last year it was such a crapshoot with the team in general with free throw shooting. But yeah, he was very clutch throughout the whole night, and he held Dawson Garcia, who averages 17 a game for Minnesota. He held him to 10 points and 10 shots, which is very impressive. And he did get a couple later on in the second half there, but for the most part, Tyler Wall locked his ass up. So
that 3 that he made was so annoying because that was like a laser beam of a 3. He like threw it straight at the rim and it just went straight through.
You could tell he was pressing.
Yeah, he was locked in, man. And Dawson, he only had 1 free throw attempt all night too, and that was only because of AJ Storr's technical foul on his dunk.
And he missed.
I'm still questioning that call, like what happened with that, but no. And then to cap this all off, Tyler Wall, if we don't play them in the Big Ten tournament, he ends his career against Minnesota 7-1 all time. I would take that any day of the week. Yes, sir. You did make the right decision to come to Wisconsin instead of staying into that shitty state, Minnesota.
When you sent us the 7-1 stat, I'm like, oh, so that's what ownership looks like. I've just been using Aaron Jones and the Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears as examples for ownership.
Yeah,
right.
It's gonna get better, and it's gonna get better here. So, second takeaway, we got to give a shout out to our guy Greg Gard. He has hit 100 Big Ten wins, which is very impressive. He is the He is the 6th fastest coach to do it in the Big Ten of all in the last 50 years. It said in the last 50 years. So I'm gonna go.
That's not okay. That's not that great.
So to give you some context here, number 6 was Greg Gard, 162, I believe. Yes. Gene Keady from Purdue, he was 144. Tom Izzo was 143. Thad Matta, the Ohio State coach for a long time, he was 141. Bo Ryan, number 2, he was 140. Number 1, Bobby Knight, 135.
That makes sense.
And for additional context, even after that, Matt Painter, he's behind Greg Gard. He is 7th. He's at 100. He went 173. And John Beilein, another legendary coach, you could say, he went 183. So Greg Gard's in some pretty goddamn good company, if you ask me, boys. So
put some respect on him.
And speaking more about Minnesota, Greg Gard has the most out of all the other conference teams. Greg Gard's got the most against Minnesota. He is 12-2 all time against them. So good job, Greg, beating the shit out of your rival, which has ultimately led to the overall series. Wisconsin is now up 107-104 all time against Minnesota.
Oh, taking it back, nice.
Exactly. So I said Greg Gard's 12-2 all time against Minnesota. The Badgers have now won 16 of the last 18 overall. If you want a bigger perspective, so I'm shitting on Minnesota right now, as God intended. But no, I mean. And yeah, on top of all that, Greg Gard, 100 wins. I mean, 2 Big Ten titles, 2 Sweet 16s. I'm very much looking forward to what's going to happen this year. I still believe we can make one hell of a run. But I mean, the 6th fastest Big Ten coach to do it versus, so many other people, so many other guys, and everyone's calling for his head. So, It's a nice shout out that Greg Gard needs right now, especially. We're winning games, when we score 91 or we score 61, like you said. But we've definitely won games when we've won plenty of games when we only score 60 a game. So it's a nice breath of fresh air. But we know how to win games in multiple ways, and Greg Gard's a big part of the reason why. So kudos to Greg Gard.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that takeaway.
Very well done.
Yeah, Jake, what stood out to you from last night?
So I'm going to continue to shit on Minnesota after I give my first point, because I want to finish with shitting on Minnesota just like Mike did. So points in the paint. You look at the stat sheet and you see 26, and you're like, why are you talking about points in the paint? But really, if you watch that game, the context behind the points in the paint, I really feel like they started the game with it, and they started the game really, really well. Tim's all here for it. They started the game going at Minnesota in the paint, and which is really weird because Minnesota definitely had a size advantage on us. But the Badgers are just too savvy down low. I don't think we give enough credit to Crowell every once in a while for his footwork, which looks to be improved a little bit. If he was a little bit stronger down low, I think he'd be a really nice player. But Tyler Wall, man, I mean, that guy.
If he was 2 inches taller, he'd be a monster.
Dude, his secondary move has a secondary move. I mean, this guy has so many moves. It's insane. But I just think that the points in the paint were just so key. They came at key moments. When Minnesota went on a run, they immediately went back to the paint, and they got big-time buckets. To close out the game, yes, they hit a couple three-pointers, but they went down to the paint, and they worked the ball from inside to out. And that was the key to this game from these set of eyes, which works sometimes very well. Excuse me. Now I'm going to go to the Badgers' dominance over Minnesota. I just looked up some little cliff notes, and wow, I found some stuff out. I kind of feel bad for the Minnesota coach after I read this one stat. I was like, oh God, that's tough, dude. So from February 18th, 2000 to January 23rd, 2024, last night, the Badgers have 20 wins and 5 losses versus Minnesota. That's a lot of wins to not a lot of losses. They are currently on a 7-game win streak versus Minnesota. The longest win streak in that time frame is 8, from February 13th, 2013 to February 19th, 2018. We went on a 5-year stretch without losing to them. That's just mean. They're 11
like the Packers and the Bears.
Yeah, dude, it feels like it, honestly. Yeah. They're 11-1 at home, 8-4 at Minnesota, and 1-0 in the Big Ten tournament. So, I mean, it doesn't matter where they play. The Badgers are probably going to win. Here's the part where I kind of feel bad for Minnesota's coach. Minnesota coach Ben Johnson is now 0-5 versus the Wisconsin Badgers by a total of 16 points.
Oh, they've all been 5 close.
Losses by 16 points, dude. That's a margin of 3.2.
Yeah, there's a reason why that Vegas spread was only like 2.5 last night. I'm like, yeah, and when you look at the track record, I'm like, yep, it's going to be close. It's going to be.
Ouch.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, man. Like, if you lose a close game, you're like, man, that sucks. All right, we'll go on to the next one. You lose 2 in a row close. You're like, all right. Yeah, just a couple more bounces our way, maybe some free throws, maybe we box out a little bit better. You get to 3, you start being like, all right, I'm getting kind of pissed off. We're up to 5. He is 0-5 by 16 points. Oh, my goodness. And he's losing at home and on the road, clearly, because we have a 7-game win streak. So, I mean, that's just mean. I feel kind of bad for him, but he put on a Minnesota M. I saw that one guy in the crowd, the one kid, and he was like, let's go. And I wanted to, a loser.
And he's not getting Minnesota players. He's losing plenty of those.
Yeah, they're coming to
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Winter is super happy to be here.
Yeah, they know where the goods is at, man.
Yeah. That Lakeville North pipeline runs straight to Madison.
Yes, it does.
All right. So you guys touched on a couple of things that I want to talk about, but I'm going to start with offensive efficiency. So the first half, the offense was really efficient, but turnovers put a cap on the scoring total. So they only had 34 points in the first half. Despite shooting 13 for 26 from the field, 50%, 5 of 10 from the three-point line, 50%, and 3 for 4 from the free throw line, 75%. But 6 turnovers, I believe, was the first half. That said, they made those 13 field goals. They had 9 assists on those 13 field goals. So that, to me, is a signal of the ball movement, which I'm going to come back to. Now, you get to the second half, and up to the point that Minnesota had started, had taken the lead, actually, I should say. The Badgers were 7 of 18 from the field and 1 of 4 from the three-point line, and then they kind of snapped out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my really only thing with the second half is to just kind of hit that switch quicker, to not let Minnesota back in the game. And I get Minnesota made some super lucky threes in the second half, which was annoying as hell, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to weather those storms and ultimately still win the game like the Badgers did, and on the road in the Big Ten, that is still credit to the Badgers and to Greg Gard for being a well-coached team to not panic in those situations, especially on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Then, finishing the game is my second takeaway. So this goes for both teams. So looking at Minnesota and Wisconsin, for Minnesota to miss the technical free throw and then go 1 of 2 under a minute allowed Wisconsin to really kind of take control of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Then Wisconsin, allowing an offensive rebound on a horrible 3-point shot by Dawson Garcia was tough. And it was by like a 6'2" point guard. And I get that they're trying to box out Payne, the really big, strong center that Minnesota has, who was causing some problems for the Badgers. But you can't be letting point guards flying in and grabbing offensive rebounds, especially not in the last minute of games. Luckily, it didn't end up hurting the Badgers because the Badgers, unlike Minnesota, were able to make their last 4 free throws to gain a 3-point lead. Then back to Minnesota. The Badgers, I think, did the smart thing by fouling to put Minnesota on the line for 2 free throws instead of letting them try to get a good look at a 3-point shot to tie the game. But back to the Minnesota side, credit to the dude shooting the free throws. He made the first one and he missed the second one. And credit to the dude who judged the rebound. He almost pulled it off.
Yeah, that was insane.
Oh,
we got to do better blocking out, man. I think that was Store on the free throw that kind of let him go.
Yeah.
And on that offensive rebound, actually, that you were talking about. I think it was Store on both of them. But yeah.
I just yelled at my kid for not boxing out in this game on Saturday. And I was like, dude, if you don't box out, you're going to be running for the next 7 hours straight. And then I watched the Badgers not box out in a couple of critical moments.
Except for Tyler Wall. Because Tyler Wall did get his box out, and he was able to draw offensive loose ball foul for, I believe it was Garcia pulling on his jersey, and he went and knocked down both of his free throws. So shout out to Tyler Wall because that was a huge play at that moment of that game.
Bro, if you grow up to be 6'5" to 6'9", and you are fundamentally sound, you are a D1 athlete. Just stamp it. I don't care what anybody says. You don't have to be the most athletic kid. Don't have to have the best jump shot because Tyler Wall is neither of those things. He has good footwork, and he's a very smart player. But being fundamentally sound has literally made him a Big Ten D1 basketball player. And one of the better ones for the Badgers.
He only
What's
had
that?
one turnover too this last game.
Yeah.
He played, you said smart. I had to bring that up because I know last week I definitely jived on him a little bit. I forget which game that was where he had 4. It was Penn State. He had like 5 turnovers in that game, and he just looked really out of place at times. So it was a nice bounce back. He played real smart, like you said. He was making the right plays for the most part. So that was good to see.
All right. Then the last thing that I want to say something about as far as the Minnesota game is concerned is let's stop doing the it's only Minnesota thing. Stop doing the it's only this team, it's only this team, it's this team for crying out loud. Stop doing that. Especially for college basketball. Especially for college basketball. College basketball is the reason people love it is because of the upsets, because the underdogs can beat the juggernauts any given night. Kentucky lost last night. South Carolina stormed the court. That's why people love college basketball, because those things can happen anytime. Anytime the number 1, number 2, number 3, those teams can lose to a team that has 4 wins on the season. They can, a 16 seed UMBC can beat Virginia. That's why people love the sport. Stop doing this. It's only this team who is like kind of mid versus the team who's leading the Big Ten right now. Anybody can beat anybody in college basketball.
2 things. One, Tyler, no, that's just you assuming that's what people meant. And 2, did Caitlin Clark get ran over when they stormed the court, or was it only the one time? Did you see her get ran? Did you see Caitlin Clark get ran over?
I did. Yeah.
Bro,
I don't think she got ran over. 2 people ran into each other, but
yeah.
Barry said the women's game was a good one to watch too. We were doing some play breakdowns, so I did not watch that game, but yeah, I heard good things about it.
Wisconsin owns Minnesota. I mean, things that we know, right?
That's true. Yeah. Put that under things we know. All right. Anything else you guys want to say about Indiana or Minnesota?
Suck it.
Okay.
Yeah, we shit on Minnesota pretty good, so I'm all right.
It. All right. Noted. All right. So the Badgers only have one game between now and next Wednesday. They play Michigan State on Friday. So, Mike, what are your 2 goals for the Michigan State game?
Yeah, so going into this, the Badgers, per Joe Lunardi, we're number 7 overall in bracketology. So call that out real quick. 2 seed, which is very impressive. The kids are going to be back this week for this Friday's game. So I expect the Kohl Center to be absolutely nuts when Sparty comes to town, as they should be. Cannot wait to watch this game. The first goal I have is we got to contain Tyson Walker. I think one of the weaknesses this team has, in my view, is defending quick guards, and I do think, it's one of our weaknesses, our Achilles heel, because we've had, whether it was yesterday, Hawkins definitely got his, or Penn State, getting their own shots to the bucket or from the outside. That's something that's kind of trending in the wrong direction. And Tyson Walker, he's averaging close to 20 a game. That's good for 4th overall in the Big Ten. So if we can contain him and hold him up and try and, limit him to what he can do, we should be right in this. So, and then my second goal, the last time we played Michigan State, we had 11 offensive rebounds for 19 second chance points. We need to do that again. We need to get aggressive and get those second chance opportunities against these guys. Granted, Malik Hall is going to be back for this game. He was out last time, and he's definitely a main catalyst of what Michigan State likes to do. But if we still stay aggressive, like on the glass, and get those second chance opportunities, and replicate this at home again, I don't see why we can't come out with another hard fought victory in the Big Ten. Even though Michigan State's playing pretty well right now, they just got a big road win at Maryland. They just beat Minnesota as well the game before that. So it's going to be 2 teams that are coming off a few wins here that are playing good basketball right now. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, and getting another win versus Tom Izzo would be awesome. So,
yes.
Jake, what are your 2 goals for Friday night?
Yeah, I was gonna start mine by saying that Michigan State's starting to look like Michigan State, in my opinion. They haven't been right all season until recently, in my opinion. But I just want to protect home court versus Michigan State. That's my first goal. Always, no matter the opponent, I want to protect home court. If you're going to be a top team, they're ranked 11th last week. They were ranked 13th last night. You have to protect home court. Doesn't matter who the opponent is. We have a game against Purdue. I'm going to expect the same thing. Somebody comes into your house, this is your house. Nobody comes in my house and takes my stuff, okay? It's just point blank, period. That's just how I feel. So protect home court. 2, this one's kind of a personal thing. It has nothing to do with the Badgers, but I want them to crack the top 10, man. It's been a while. I would like to see like a number 10 or a number 8 or, we'll just go all the way to number 1. I would like to see that next to Wisconsin's name. I think that would make me feel good. So I'm looking to feel good, and I would really like to feel good. So please protect home court against Michigan State and crack the top 10.
Barry said, hope the Big Ten Network will have that game.
FS1.
I'd be pretty
it's
confident.
FS1.
It is FS1.
I think it's FS1 that's Friday. Yeah.
Yep, it is FS1. So, yeah, it'll be on Fox Sports then.
Our next 2 games are on FS. Or no, I lied. Nebraska's on Big Ten Network. I lied. I'm sorry. Okay. The Purdue game is on CBS, so I was going Big Network. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. So my 2 goals, first one is to cut down turnovers in the first half. I know Mike has had the goal of getting off to some fast starts. Looking at the Minnesota game, some turnovers and foul trouble. Got the game off to a little bit of a back and forth, a little bit of a sloppy start. Go back to the Indiana game. Indiana and Wisconsin combined for 7 turnovers in the first 5 minutes. And then even going back to the Penn State game, that game started off sloppy as well, and the Badgers were down double digits before the first media timeout. Mm-hmm. So cutting down first half turnovers is my first goal. And my second goal is still to move the ball faster. I'm going to harp on this until it happens. I might just be able to pen it in every week. But the Badgers move the ball faster, please, because it works so well for their offense when they have the ball moving quickly. And it doesn't have to be just passing the ball quickly, but just quicker decisions in general, whether it be to pass or to dribble. But standing there, like going 4 or 5 pump fakes while everybody else recovers defensively and then catches their breath, that's not it. That does not Mamma the Mia.
That definitely doesn't Mamma the Mia.
It definitely does not Mamma the Mia. So I want to Mamma the Mia, so let's move the ball faster.
It's going to be interesting how they defend Steven Crowell, I think, on Friday, because if you recall that last game, he went 4 of 4 from the 3-point line. If you remember that? Yeah.
Yes.
In the beginning of the game, he hit his first
right
2.
after I went on a rant about him for 4 minutes about catching the ball facing the sideline.
Yeah. So
and I'll do it again.
If you look at even last night, Minnesota didn't double team Steven Crowell either in the post. So I'm curious how Michigan State attacks that, because like I said earlier, Malik Hall's coming back too, and that's a little bit of size. So I'm curious if Izzo lets him play one-on-one, or if they do what every other Big Ten team does and doubles him and makes him, forces him to make those decisions.
He had a big time 3-point shot last night too, and he shot it confidently, and it went right. They were talking about it on the broadcast. They're like, he has the ability to shoot threes, and then all of a sudden, right on cue, he just cashes it, and I'm like,
yep,
dude, you shoot like 3 a game. Like, I'm not going to be mad at you.
Even the one that he missed was a good one.
Every game, I will be happy.
Yeah.
I would literally be happy if he made 1 out of 3 every game.
Yeah.
Because it does more than just give us 3 points.
Yeah, it makes the defenses guard him out there, which spreads it out.
Exactly.
Which you give Tyler Wall more one-on-one opportunities, or
Max Klesmit, AJ Storr, Chucky
give more
Hepburn,
opportunities for
John
backcourt
Blackwell.
cuts.
Yep.
That opens things up for everybody.
Yep.
All right. So, Mike, we will see you next week again. And Brad, Terrence Shannon Jr. That does not Mamma the Mia either.
I'm not touching that one.
Yeah, there's still so much we don't know.
Yeah.
That's
I have no
definitely for the full story on that.
Tyler's talking about Mamma the Mia. This is a no bueno for me. No.
Yeah. All righty, Mike. We will talk to you soon then, and hopefully next week I can get you a little bit of Badgers info. So we will talk soon. And other than that, go Badgers, and we will see you next week.
Later, fellas.
Later, brother.
All right, so this will tie in nicely because Barry had to throw it right in there that the Doc is ready to see you. So we will talk about Doc Rivers in just a second, but Jake, give me your power pair first, and then we'll get into some discussions about Doc Rivers.
We'll get into some stuff. We'll get into all the stuff and the things, okay?
Oh, yeah.
So be ready for the stuff and the things. But first, we're going to talk about a guy named Damian Lillard. He is my first of my power pair. He scored 79 points total, grabbed 13 rebounds and 24 assists. That's an average of 26.3, 4.3, and 8 assists. He shot 40% from the field, 31% from the three-point line. He had a quote where he talked about not being able to really fit into Griff's offense. So, I mean, that could have been a decision maker as well. I mean, you don't trade for Damian Lillard and not let him be Damian Lillard, right? He added 4 steals. And the craziest thing is, obviously, everybody knows that Cavaliers game was just not good. It was just bad stuff, right? We were on national television. Yeah, crumple it up, throw it behind you. He finished that game as a minus 26, as you know, everybody was bad in that game. He finished the week plus 12.
I mean, scoring 45 will help.
Yeah, he was plus, and the craziest thing is that's not even as high as plus minus. He was a plus 18 that game.
Oh, so there's more to the game than just scoring. Interesting.
There is, which is really, really weird. And then
'cause we should just kick Thanasis off the team because there's guys in the G League that could average more points.
Yeah, that's great. They also don't understand how. Never mind. I'm not going to get into that yet. So, bro, I just want to
We've done it so many times, and people still don't understand.
So my next power pair player is Brook Lopez. He scored 45 points, grabbed 25 rebounds, had 8 assists. He's been playmaker Brook the last couple of games against the Pistons. That's an average of 15 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 2.6 assists. He shot 62% from the field, 33% from the three-point line, had 2 steals, 10 blocks, and he finished with a -1, which is still insane because he was minus 34 in the Cavs game.
Ooh.
So he's been plus 33 the last 2 games, plus 14 and plus 19 respectively.
I like it. So Jake omitted his underrated performer. I am also going to omit mine out until I give my power pair. So I'm going to start with Giannis. He averaged 31, 13.5 rebounds, 9.5 assists, 2.5 steals, 1.5 blocks in the 2 games over the Pistons. He did not play versus the Cavaliers. In those 2 games, he averaged 51.2% on field goals, 16.7% on threes. We're going to talk about that, so I'm just going to skip over it really quickly right now. Also, 51.9% on free throws. Don't love that either, but we'll talk about that also. Number 2, I have Chris Middleton. He only averaged 15, 3, and 3, a little bit slow for his, what we expect from him. But 41.7% on field goals, 33.3 from the three-point line, and 83.3% from the free throw line. He also passed Glenn Robinson for 3rd all-time on the Milwaukee Bucks franchise scoring list, which we will talk about a little bit more when we get into Monday's game. But looking at, yes, Barry, we did see Amazon they didn't buy it. They became like a minority stakeholder. But yes, Amazon will have Bally Sports. We don't know when, but it is going to happen. The Brewers and the Bucks are some of the teams that are going to be available on it.
I will say I've been trying to find the games on there the last couple nights. But when you go on there and you look up Bucks, there is certain games that are on there. So I'm sure that they're trying to get all the production ready for that. So I did see the upcoming game against the Nuggets. That's actually next Monday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
I saw that one on there.
Watch party for that. So,
but also it is announced that the Brewers will be on there. So every Brewers game should be on there.
Yep.
I would think that they would uptick, or offer a package for $5 extra a month or whatever, where you can watch all the baseball games, because
might just be included, to be honest with you.
It might. I mean, the Tigers are on there, the Marlins are on there, the Royals are on there.
I think the Royals are one of them.
Yeah, there's like 5 or 6 teams that are baseball teams that are going to be on Amazon, so you might just be able to watch all of them. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be certainly a way to maybe get people watching some more baseball games.
Yeah, that'd be really cool, actually.
In their own market. All right, so we omitted underrated performers because Jake and I are combining ours, and we are giving it to Jon Horst. Jon Horst is the underrated performer this week. It takes some stones to fire a coach who's 30-13.
It does.
And, I am thankful for Adrian Griffin, especially for him to have nothing but good things and gratitude on his way out. I appreciate that. To not leave, with bitterness and be like, I feel like I didn't, get enough time to do what I wanted, or, to feel slighted or whatever. Adrian Griffin, he went out thankful, and I appreciate that from him.
Yeah, show some class. I appreciate that as well. But
Absolutely.
yeah, let me phrase this correctly. For Horst to be able to fire a championship coach, what's going on, buddy? For Horst to be able to fire a championship coach and Coach Bud, do interviews, hire Griff through a lot of scrutiny, to be honest with you, and then realize that things were not going right, and to make a change at this moment in time, that just goes to show that Jon Horst, big brained, quite frankly.
We said in the offseason respect on him when he got Damian Lillard, but factors into it as well.
Extending Giannis, trading for Dame, trading for Drew Holiday. What else needs to be said about this guy for him to start getting the respect around the league? Not just from Bucks fans, but I don't think he gets talked about enough around the league for all the winning moves that he makes. He makes hard decisions.
Keeping Brook Lopez when the reports were that the Houston Rockets offered him more money.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff. He's kind of he's a pretty big catalyst for creating this culture that's up in Milwaukee right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Beard Scottson said, "What's up? Just talking some Bucks like we do." So Barry said the doc is ready to see you. Now, we talked a little bit about this. If you want more of like a deep dive on how we think about the Bucks firing Griffin and what they're moving forward doing, we talked about it for about a half an hour yesterday with a bunch of interaction, which we appreciate. But I want to say, on listening to Adrian Wojnarowski talk more about him today, few things that he said that stood out. One, that Doc Rivers is a multi-year deal. So he's going to be here not just for the end of the season, but probably next year, and I would guess the following. So I'm guessing probably like a 2.5-year deal, maybe 3.5, I guess. But my guess would probably be about 2.5. The Bucks, apparently, according to Wojnarowski, did not have a plan B if it was not Doc Rivers. So the rumored interest in Nate McMillan or Jeff Van Gundy, that was all just rumors. It was basically like Doc Rivers was who we want. Then the Bucks wanted a veteran coach with playoff championship experience who was not currently employed by another team.
Check.
Yeah, exactly. Literally just checking off boxes.
Yeah.
Now, Barry said, I think with Doc being the coach, players will want to come play in Milwaukee. I could see it. I could see coaches, Doc Rivers having a little bit of extra pull as a coach. And like I said yesterday, if you have a chance, go watch the coaches. I believe it's Coaches Playbook for Life. There is an episode about Doc Rivers in there. I watched it in like December, and it gave me a respect for Doc Rivers that I didn't have. So Pat said, was Doc already mentoring Griffin? I believe the word they used was consulting.
Yeah.
It was early December. They said that they were consulting with Doc Rivers. Yeah, bro, that's never going to happen. So that too gives Doc Rivers a little bit of insight, not necessarily experience, but he does have insight on what's going on with the team.
Right.
Yeah, mentoring, consulting, it's whatever. It is what it is. I'm just using the terminology that was used when people were describing it. So Doc does have a little bit of, insight into what's going on with the team and potentially what to fix it. And like I brought up yesterday in the live that we did, Doc Rivers has a pretty good defensive track record. The Bucks offensively, I think you could probably just let Dame and Giannis just, play, and you'd probably be able to score 130 a night. But Doc Rivers is being brought in to tighten up the defense.
I literally have zero worries about the offense. We have Damian Lillard and Giannis, for fuck's sakes, dude. Like, sorry for swearing if you don't like swearing, but we have Dame and Giannis. Okay, the offense is gonna be fine. I mean, Malik Beasley, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis when he's right. I always watch Bobby Portis' first shot when he takes a turnaround jumper from the post. If he makes it, it's going to be a good Bobby Portis night. If he misses it, he's going to have to start hustling on the offensive rebounds. That's literally just how I see it.
That's fair.
Defensively wise, we got a lot of things to tighten up, okay? First of all, I am so sick and tired of seeing guys run wide open to the rim. That oh, my God. Giving up wide open layups and giving up offensive rebounds is just two of the easiest ways when I'm watching a basketball game to piss me off. Open three-point shots, those happen, okay? Those happen. They do because there's so much spacing, and there's so much ball movement, and there's so much fast break, fast-paced basketball nowadays. You're going to get open shooters.
Mm-hmm.
But letting guys walk to the rim, no, unacceptable.
Yeah.
So we need to tighten that up. Yeah, we need to use Brook Lopez how Brook Lopez is supposed to be used. Yeah. He should not be that far away from the basket. I'm sorry.
I'm going to get to this question in just a second. The last thing that Wojnarowski mentioned today is that Dave Joerger could be coming along with Doc Rivers. And we talked a little about yesterday about being interested in bringing Terry Stotts back. I would be just as excited for Dave Joerger to come along with Doc Rivers because he's an offensive guy. I went back to my notes. I got right here all my coaching candidate notes. Dave Joerger was one of my candidates for the Milwaukee Bucks job. So I'm just going to read real quick what I had when I took notes on Dave Joerger. So my notes say offensively runs a lot of post up with Memphis, Zach Randolph, and Marc Gasol. They were third in the NBA in post points. Adrian was a defensive coach, but he was an defensive assistant coach. Yeah. Some guys are just meant to be assistants. So very odd question. Who's coaching the team tonight? It's probably going to be Joe Prunty because they're on the road. If they were at home, I could see it being Doc, but it's probably going to be Joe Prunty. In Sacramento, when Dave Joerger was there, they were 7th. In Sacramento, he increased the offensive pace when they drafted De'Aaron Fox. Dave Joerger wanted the Kings to draft Luka Doncic over Marvin Bagley, so he's got something going for him, in the brains department. He wants to play fast. He's credited by Bleacher Report for adaptability. The quote that they had in there was, his offense works best with freakish athletes. We literally have the Greek freak. So that, to me, was already a great, potential pairing with Dave Joerger was Giannis. And then looking at when he was with Memphis, Memphis was a top 10 defense for 4 seasons when he was made the lead defensive assistant. They went from 25 to 9 to 8 to number 2.
Oh, damn.
In his 4 seasons. He was also credited for getting more out of the whole than the sum of its parts. I am fully on board with bringing Dave Joerger in alongside Doc Rivers.
Yeah, I think that would be a tremendous hire. Originally, I was all on the Terry Stotts train, but hearing Dave Joerger's name come up is definitely interesting. Yep. I think it could be a good pairing. Just adding more experience to the Bucks bench, which is obviously needed. I agree. Giannis would be great with any coach.
I have one obvious omission from that.
What's that?
The Giannis would be great with any coach. The one name that I would take out of that is Nick Nurse.
Was Nick Nurse?
Nick Nurse. Giannis said specifically by name he did not want Nick Nurse to be the head coach.
Listen, Giannis would be great with any coach. It's just that he doesn't want to play for him. I agree. Still need players to have that mentality. I think, Dad, that's something. This is something that my dad's instilled in me about coaching, is that you have to be able to lead a room, right? You have to be a leader, and you have to be able to motivate. And I think that's the one thing that people are not taking into consideration with Doc Rivers. This guy has championship experience. This guy has championship or bust season experience. Yep. Definitely with that 08 team. And I agree with Brad, he would still be honest. But the thing that Doc's going to get out of these players, he's going to get the most out of them. He's going to put them in the right position, and it's up to the players now to execute. Giannis talks all the time about creating good habits. Well, those good habits start right now.
Yep.
Also, I want to answer Barry's question real quick, but I believe it's going to be Prunty coaching the team tonight. I don't think that Doc's going to coach him tonight.
Yeah. Yep, that's what I was saying too. And I think, Pat, we've talked about it. We broke down, we published them right before the show. having players to have the mentality. The Bucks have capable defenders. It just wasn't consistent enough.
Yeah, and I called it out a couple of weeks ago. They were just switching too much. It was too much. I mean, the ideas were there. I respect Griffin for the ideas of the switching and the ball pressure and the run the zone defense every once in a while. I respect the ideas.
Yep.
He was definitely in the ideas department. That's assistant coach talk right there.
Just a little too radical, maybe.
But all the switching and then guys need to be in certain spots for this defense and then switching to this defense. I think it was just too much, man. Sometimes if it ain't broke, you don't need to fix it, right? Brook Lopez blocks shots, Giannis roams, and we're going to have some guys jump in some passing lanes and hopefully stopping some of the dribble drive penetration. That's what needs to happen.
And closing out on shooters. I'll add that in there.
Agreed.
Courtney says hi.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Yeah, I agree. Chasing doesn't work. But I mean, I get chasing guys off the three-point line, but that's running guys off the three-point line, which I guess is different.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving into some potential trade deadline things, and Jake, we talked about this a little bit with Mike before we started the show, was, why now? And Mike asked us if we were surprised by the timing of the move, and we kind of said yes until we started talking it out loud more, and the fact that the trade deadline is about 2 weeks away.
Yep.
And the Bucks are expected to be very active, as Jon Horst always has been. So Beardsconsin asked the question, who are we moving by the deadline? And Jake, my answer to you was, I think the top three guys who are most likely to be traded are Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton, and MarJon Beauchamp. And now I want to preface this by saying I love all three of these players.
Mm-hmm.
And Jake, I'm going to let you say what you said about this. But it was addressed in a comment earlier today in one of the Bucks posts that we had was, why are people trying to get rid of Bobby Portis? And it's not that we're trying to get rid of Bobby Portis. We're not calling other teams asking them to take Bobby Portis from us. That's not what we are wanting as Wisco Fanatics or what we think that Jon Horst is going to be doing when he's making phone calls. But if Jon Horst is looking to make trades, like a trade for the rumored DeJounte Murray deal, the one that I brought up 2 weeks ago, is if you want a guy like DeJounte Murray, you have to be able to match salary and you have to at least give something to get something. So unfortunately, Bobby Portis is probably going to be in that deal. And reason being the Bucks could be willing to part with him is because he's had a pretty inconsistent January.
Yeah.
I love Bobby Portis, but you can't deny it. You look at the stats and they're there. They tell you he's been inconsistent.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, how much of that was coaching. Maybe Bobby didn't fit into the offense like Dame said he didn't fit into the offense, right? But the thing that I said is, man, I love Bobby Portis a lot, man. I love screaming at my TV when Bobby gets an and one, he gets the crowd pumped up. I mean, it's awesome, honestly. But we are in a championship or bust season. When we signed this guy, it was done. It's not fun. We're not here to have a good time. We're here to hoist a trophy. That's what it became, right? And that pressure was applied by the superstar of this franchise, Giannis. And with that pressure comes hard decisions, which obviously Jon Horst has no problem with. He makes it look like they're easy decisions. I don't know how he does it, but he's just like, hey, it's got to happen, right? And the thing that I said to you and Mike was, we are not in the business of relationships when we're talking about sports. We're in the business of results. Yeah. And right now, Bobby Portis isn't giving you results. He's, it seems, and this is really hard for me to say, but I have to say it. It almost seems like the team is winning despite of him sometimes. I'm sorry to say that, but that's what it looks like sometimes. Especially on defense.
Bucks bench, we're going to talk about this. We're going to start getting into some games here. The Bucks bench, it has to be more productive. And as much as we've loved Pat Connaughton since he was brought here, and he was kind of the bridge between Dame and Giannis, he's a hustle guy, but we need more scoring off the bench specifically. And if it means bringing in DeJounte Murray to slot into the starting lineup and having Malik Beasley come off the bench to just flamethrow, that would be awesome. And DeJounte Murray would also give the boost to the defense as well. So that to me is a home run potential trade. That's why I suggested it 2 weeks ago. So kudos to me.
I would love DeJounte Murray off the bench and stagger his minutes with
Or
Dame
that.
and Giannis.
And we get
oh
a
my
backup
God.
point guard and we don't have to use campaign anymore.
Oh my God, dude. That would literally be perfect. He could run the
I'd
pick
love
and
to look
roll with
smart for it
Giannis.
too.
Dude, and if we did get, who am I thinking of? I'm sorry. Marquette, your other guy you wanted in the trade.
Wesley Matthews.
If we got Wesley Matthews in the deal as well, you're talking about a hard-nosed, defender that wants the matchup, right? So
Basically a player coach at that point too.
I would love that.
Brett said, Jake and Tyler, as much as I love Bobby Portis, getting DeJounte Murray would be killer, and he just signed a 4-year extension. He'd be a piece for the future with Giannis and Dame. Absolutely. Also for the now and the future, even after Dame, could be Giannis and play with Murray. I actually would be very interested to see what that would look like. He's proving it lately as he keeps improving, which by Bill Michaels, I can't believe in people. Yeah, he's a defensive and offensive gem, which Bobby can help us one more. And I get it. And it would be a bummer. And unfortunately, we're probably going to talk about this on Friday night when we talk about the Packers, but A.J. Dillon could be one of those pieces too, where we love him for who he is, but the Bucks are not in the business of just keeping guys around because we like them.
We're not going to act like Bears fans, okay? They all want to keep Justin Fields because he's a nice guy, and we agree.
Yep.
Justin Fields is a really nice guy, okay? I'm not going to say that he's not. But that's a good question, Beer Wisconsin. Can we swap Payne and Portis? I would love that. I'm on board.
The only problem is that campaign makes about $9 million less than Bobby Portis.
Yeah. 9 million less impact as well. But I'll say this. If A.J. Dillon has to go, A.J. Dillon has to go. Sorry.
Yeah.
There's going to be money situations coming up for the Packers in the next couple of years, and he just might not fit in that scenario.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. But again, unfortunately winning is the priority.
Yeah, we're called Title Town, okay? I don't think we need to explain that.
That's yeah. All right.
At least I hope not.
All right. So we are going to try to run through these recaps pretty quickly because our goal is to get done by 5:15 so that we can put the Milwaukee Bucks press conference that's starting at 5:15 on the screen with us. And we are planning to kind of have like a watch party with us with the Bucks press conference that Jon Horst is having. So
let's get into it.
Could you imagine if we get Portis and Thibault? I'm assuming he means Murray and Thibault, or Murray or Thibault. Either way, Matisse Thibault would kind of be like a consolation. Yeah. I would much rather have DeJounte Murray because he gives you offense as well, whereas Thibault gives you mostly just defense.
I agree.
But he meant Murray and Thibault.
Murray and Thibault would be fucking gross, dude. Oh
yeah, I don't know that we're gonna have enough to get both, but if they could, that would be insane,
dude. Thibault instantly is a guy you throw on Jason Tatum, instantly.
Yeah, that would be really interesting if they were able to pull off both. But Jake, give me your quick rundown from what stood out to you against the Cavs last Wednesday.
So the Cleveland Cavaliers game was honestly just ridiculous. I mean, no Giannis in this game. He had a hurt shoulder, but this game started 22-2 for the Cavaliers, if that tells you anything, right? The Cavaliers were just getting any shot they wanted. They were running early and often, kind of running the Bucks out of the building. I mean, if you look at the score, that's exactly what it looked like. Dame was having an off day. Chris was having an off day. I mean, It just really felt like nothing was going right. And when you're first person off the bench, Georges Niang comes in the game and he has, 5 threes, 6 threes in a row. And they're all wide open, and people are just running to the rim. I mean, it's ridiculous, man. Yeah. So, really, all I have to say is welcome back, Jay Crowder. It was really nice to have you back. Yep. Nice to get your legs under you. But other than that, man, this was just an unacceptable performance from a team that's trying to win a championship.
I'll be honest. The third quarter is really the one that I only had the problem with. Reggie, you could be excited for the future, and you could be talking about any of our teams, and I would agree with you. The third quarter is really the problem quarter for me. 42 points is too high. 32, 34, 27 isn't ideal outside of that. But the Bucks offense is plenty capable of winning 140 to 120 every night if they allow 30 a quarter. Which brings me to the efficiency. The Bucks were 17 of 47 on field goals, 2 for 7 on threes by the starters. Mm-hmm. And if you take out Brook Lopez and Andre Jackson Jr., it gets way worse. Yeah. So you mentioned Dame, Chris, and Beasley just off night. The 3-point shooting was a big decider. The Bucks and the Cavaliers both made 12 threes, but the Bucks took 42 and the Cavs took 28.
Yep.
That was the big thing there. And then the last thing that I want to say before we can just kind of move on from this is the Bucks only attempted 10 free throws. Even with Giannis not playing, that number should be higher. Damian Lillard should be getting 10 free throws by himself.
Agreed.
Last thing I'll say, again, playing without Giannis makes things a little bit different. We're not contenders without Giannis. That's not a delusion that anybody has. And again, shout out to Jay Crowder. He made 4 threes in his return, so good for him.
Yep.
We can move away from this game right away now. Brett said, I swear if Niang does it again tonight, like, man, he's on fire. You know who I miss on the Cavs? Sam Merrill. The year we won it all and drafted him. It's like AJ Green with a 3-point shot. I'm not mad at losing Sam Merrill because we got Grayson Allen for him, and Grayson Allen gave us some pretty good contributions. But Niang, since he's been with the 76ers, he's been a Bucks killer. He's just annoying, but it is what it is. The Cavaliers are hot. They've won, 9 straight games now?
Yeah, they're playing really good basketball right now.
Yeah, they're playing well. All right. What stood out to you from Saturday's Bucks and Pistons game?
Well, didn't have this one on the bingo card. The Bucks 141 and the Pistons 135. With that 141, the Bucks have now set a new team record with their 7th game of 140 points. So, fuck yeah to that. Giannis 31, 10, and 9. That's tremendous stuff in his return. And then Damian Lillard 45, 6, and 11. I mean,
that'll play.
Holy crap. You're getting 76 points and 20 assists and 16 rebounds from 2 players.
Let me throw in the third one. If you do the Bucks' big 3, you get 93 points, 21 rebounds, 10 assists. 24 assists. And then if you add Brook Lopez, the big 4 gives you 112 points, 31 rebounds, 28 assists, only 7 turnovers, 5 steals, and 6 blocks.
Jesus.
From 4 dudes. That's wild. That's the Pistons production on the season.
It is. The Bucks shot 55% from the field. The Pistons made a lot of crazy 3-pointers. That's just, it happens. That's all I got. They shot way too many free throws as well. But the Bucks getting 49 free throws. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. This one is almost like, okay, swallow the whistle a little bit. Shout out to Chris Middleton. He bounced back a little bit after a bad shooting game in Cleveland. He shot 42% from the field, 43% from the 3-point line. Did miss a couple free throws, but we know that Chris Middleton is a good free throw shooter. Mm-hmm. And then Pat Connaughton, this is his 2nd straight shooting efficient game. I'm willing to be patient on Pat, but again, if we can get some assets for him, I'm willing but sad to part with Pat Connaughton. He did have 10 of the Bucks' 18 bench points in this game. And then I want to throw this out there because I saw people talking shit. Put a little bit of respect on Alec Burks. You look at the dude, like his numbers, and people are just like, oh, we allowed a guy who averages 13 points to score 33. Like, if you know ball, you know that Alec Burks is a bucket. We've talked about him as a potential buyout option, that if he gets bought out, we would happily take him on the Bucks.
100%.
If you look at his 3-point percentages by year, I wrote them down for you. This is by year, his career 3-point percentages. 40, 41, 40, 42, 38, 42, 37, 38, 33, 33, 41, 38. He is a shooter.
Damn.
Yeah, that dude is a bucket. Put a little bit of respect on Alec Burks.
Agreed.
Tyler secretly calls Adamas Willie too. I mean, it's his name, so.
True.
All right. Now let's talk about Monday's Pistons game. What stood out to you from that one? Beard Wisconsin said, Fook, yeah, give me that buyout. I would take Alec Burks in a heartbeat. He can be our bench Malik Beasley.
For damn straight.
Damn straight. How quickly you were on board.
Oh, Malik Beasley? Oh, we have 2 of them
2
now?
Malik
Yeah,
Beasleys?
you're screwed. You are screwed. Football, just camp them in the corners. You're done. You're done.
That would be fucking lit. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
All right. So this next one, Bucks ended up winning this one, win number 30. So that's awesome. Obviously, the last game of the Griffin era. They played much better defense in this one, but I also think that the Pistons just weren't making bullshit. to be completely honest. They were taking a lot of the same shots, and they just weren't making bullshit. Giannis was still on the same shit, though. 31, 17, and 10. I mean, his 6th triple-double of the season. Chris Middleton added 26, very efficient, 9 of 14 from the field for him. Damian Lillard was kind of off on the shooting night, but 17, 5, and 8. He always makes an impact because, like you've brought up, he has gravity. Like any other superstar player, they have a lot of sets of eyes on them at all times when they have the ball. Brook Lopez, another double-double for him, back-to-back for him, actually. So that's a really good sign to see for him, being a little bit more aggressive in the rebounding department. But overall, just a pretty good game. They won. They're going to be back at it tonight, so hopefully they can get 3 in a row.
So I'm going to jump straight to the second half. And I know that we've talked about this. Is Giannis. I love you so much. You are the greatest Wisconsin sports athlete ever. But, buddy, the game is within 4 points. Shooting dribble pull-up threes is not the move. I need Giannis to know that that's not his game. And I'll throw this out there. I didn't know this when I watched this game, but I think Doc Rivers will reel him in on that. He might let him get away with one here and there, but Doc Rivers isn't going to be letting Giannis really be doing what he wants to do, pulling threes when the game is close.
Yeah, that's not going to fly.
If you have 47 points and we're up by 20 on the Hornets, like, let it fly.
Yeah.
But the game's within 4 points. That's not the time to be shooting threes with 20 seconds on the shot clock.
I agree.
Damian Lillard made a 3 that broke 16 straight missed threes by the Bucks. So my thing is that, again, like they do, people were complaining about the 3-point shooting and just the fact that the Bucks didn't beat the Pistons by 10,000 points.
Yeah,
so
whatever.
The Pistons scored 113. Their season average is 112.4. So they scored 0.6 more than their average. But the Bucks shot 10 for 39 on 3-pointers. About 25%. But if the Bucks had made their season average 3-point percentage, 37.7, if they had made that many, that would give them 14.7 threes. I'm going to go ahead and round that up to 15. If the Bucks had made 15 threes, they would have won this game 137-113, and nobody would have batted an eye.
Nope.
Just by being their season average. Yeah, I'm not. Here we go. I'm not allowed to use statistics in context. Now, again, I'm going to go back to the defense because I've said it and I will continue to say it. The Bucks are able to play good defense. They just aren't consistently playing good defense, and this game shows it. The last 6 minutes and 22 seconds, Detroit only scored 6 points.
Damn.
The last 4 minutes and 3 seconds, the Bucks went on an 11-2 run. The final 5 minutes and 47 seconds, the Pistons had taken a 2-point lead. From that final 5:47, they scored 4 points.
I like that.
The final 4 minutes and 13 seconds, they scored 2 points.
I like that too.
So the Bucks tightened up defensively. They are capable. It just needs to be consistent.
I agree.
And that's why I keep coming back to it. Brett said Lopez blocking 4 isn't a joke. I don't get when people say trade Lopez. I think it really boils down to people being like, oh, I saw the other team get an open dunk and Lopez was just standing there. Like, that people see a couple plays here and there, and then they take it to mean that gospel that Brook Lopez has gotten slow.
Either
he's
that
always
or
been
they
slow.
read a comment on social media, to be completely honest with you.
He's always been slow. It's not a secret. It's about where he's positioned on the floor.
Agreed.
And to his credit, he's very good at judging players, not the ball.
Yeah.
We've broken down plays of that. So Chris Middleton, Malik Beasley, and Giannis got the Bucks started 3 for 3, and then the Bucks missed 20 of their next 21 threes.
Jesus.
Yeah. Brett's just having a great day, just laying on thick on Bill Michaels.
Dude, he's just using our comment section to just.
Brett's just had enough of Bill Michaels.
He's going crazy, man.
And I get it. The dude's negative. I get it. I love seeing Chris smile at how geeked up everybody gets when he throws down a dunk.
He was on the bench with Oppenheimer in the second half, and I always want to be in those conversations, man. Because all of a sudden, Oppenheimer
conversations are some
looks
of the
at it
best
with a big
times
old
we've had.
smirk, and love it.
All right. Jay Crowder missed a few more threes in this game, but my thing that with Jay Crowder is that I want him shooting the shots that he's going to shoot when he's 100%. So I want him taking the shots that he's going to take, and just to be in the mental headspace of this is the shot that I'm supposed to shoot. And if I don't make it, I get it. And again, he's a couple of games back from his surgery. So I'm willing to give Jay Crowder a couple weeks to get back into midseason form. And then last thing, Jake and I, we broke down a pretty crazy Andre Jackson Jr. sequence we published shortly before the show started. I'm willing to put Andre Jackson Jr. in untouchable category for the trade deadline. That's how far I'm willing to go.
He has some crazy potential, honestly.
My untouchable category for the trade deadline would be Dame, Giannis, Chris, and Ajax. That's my untouchable four.
Yeah.
Brett said, I love Crowder's defensive awareness already, and his shot will fall eventually. He's got time to get it down again. He was one of our top 3-point shooters before the injury. Absolutely. We've said that, and we stand by it. So, yeah, that's where we're at. I'm going to find somewhere that has the Bucks press conference that is going on right now, and we will talk about that as well. So I'm going to find that somewhere. Should be. Here we go. We'll go from here. See if this works. Gotta watch an ad.
You find it?
Pulling up the 97.3 the game feed because they are supposed to have it. So once this ad is done, I will share it with the screen, and then Jake and I are going to talk about it while it's being talked about. So
I like that. I like that a lot.
All right. So the Bucks do have 4 games. No, yeah, it is 4 games. It's 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
4 games. Oh, there we go.
Yesterday, and I appreciate the patience of everyone kind of waiting today to do so.
Yep.
This was obviously a difficult decision. Adrian is a great person, brought a lot to the franchise. We're thankful for that, and I'm thankful for the time that we had with him. But we also believe that we had an opportunity now with a special group, the talent on this team, the dynamic of the team has changed. The team itself had changed from when we hired him, and we felt like we had an opportunity to improve and to get better. And we wanted to take advantage of that opportunity. I also would say that we believe that this is a good team right now, and with improvements, we have a chance to be great. We're looking for a way to really make this a great team. That's on me, that's on the players, that's on coaching, and we're going to continue to pursue that effort as well. In the interim, Joe Prunty is going to be the head coach through the transition, and we'll kind of continue to move from there. I'll take questions here, but before doing so, just want to say I hope you understand we're not going to talk about Doc tonight. That's not part of this. There'll be at some point, hopefully, a time where we can do that, but this is a chance for us to kind of dive into the Adrian Griffin piece if you guys want to.
I respect it. Honestly, I respect it.
I know you just mentioned dynamic of the team change and whatnot, but why John specifically did ownership, yourself, Peter, decide that it was time to fire Adrian? Like, why was that decision made?
Yeah, it's part of my job. It's our job to constantly evaluate and to learn and listen and just continue to figure out how to improve this team. And for us, we felt like this was the right time, the right decision to make, and that we had an opportunity to improve the group. And there isn't a specific instance, there isn't a specific timing to it. It's just this, and going through it and evaluating, looking, the dynamic's different. Giannis extended, Chris committed, Brooke committed. We were able to acquire Dame. These are hard windows to come by. These are special opportunities. We think we have a special group. We believe in this team at a high level, and ownership, and myself and Peter, we've continued to be bold and to be aggressive in trying to figure out how to maximize these chances that we have. And that's what we're doing here.
Obviously you couldn't hire a coach on the eve of training camp, like when Dame was hired, but you mentioned the free agent signings. I mean, when you hired Adrian, you talked about the process and how much you felt that was good to go through. In retrospect, was there a misjudgment there on on that process or in that process, and what maybe should have been after free agency or some other roster decisions had been made?
Yeah, someone really wise once said, looking back is ego. So I'm going to stay in the present and not look back. There's no regrets. I believe in the hire that we made. I believe in the reasons we did it, the process that we went through. And again, Adrian has contributed to this group. Part of why we are where we are today, who we are, is because of him. This was an opportunity about going forward. And so, yeah, no regrets for me, no looking back. Believe in what we did, why we did it, when we did it, and believe in where we're at today as well.
You mentioned the chance to go from good to great. Where do you see
sounds like Simon.
Opportunities? How do you get from that place to the other?
Yeah, I think for me and my staff, we constantly are turning that over. We're looking for ways to improve the roster. That's not to say we don't believe in this group as constructed. I think this group as constructed has upside. I think we have yet to maximize what we can become. Some of that's timing, integrating a new star, integrating new pieces, a new system. Chris coming back, playing a real role, real minutes compared to what he had done in the last year or so. And so I think there's upside in the roster as constructed. I know that we're going to do our job to figure out if we can improve the roster. And then as part of this and why we're sitting here today, I think there's a coaching element where we have a chance to get better as well.
Defensively, you guys have taken a bit of a step back this year. How much did that play into the decision? And where do you see those same opportunities for growth with the defense?
I would say in assessing the team so far, we have a really good record, and that matters. And we've had that in the past. We have an elite offense, and I believe we not only have an elite offense in terms of rating on a total game, but we have a starting five that's elite offensively, is very good defensively. We're great in late game situations. We have ISO scores, we have pick and roll scores. We have a lot of dynamic, I would say flexible things that we can do offensively. Defensively, we have a talent group, I think, that can be better than what they've been so far. Is that a top 5 defense, a top 10, a top 15? I don't know. And that's what we're trying to decide here with the roster as constructed. We're trying to understand where we can take it, having the players be better. The players have an accountability to do this, to be better. And then the coaching element. And so
that's like
I know that we're going to be really good offensively. We got to figure out how to improve defensively consistently. We've had points throughout the season where we've been very good defensively. We've had
holding
points
the players accountable.
And so trying to find a consistency and an identity on that side is part of this.
When you hired him, I know y'all were saying during the introductory press conference that Adrian was kind of a head coach just waiting for the opportunity. They had all the elements. Looking at it now, how much of a factor was his lack of head coaching experience, do you think, in terms of making the decision that you made yesterday?
Yeah, Steve, it was a tough job and a great opportunity. Both things are true when we hired Griff. The dynamics and the things that changed after that, I think, created even more of an urgency, and even more so. These are special opportunities. The talent became even more special. The commitment to the team even more significant. And I think that increased the urgency. And so I don't, it's not because I'm afraid to be wrong. I've been wrong many of times. I believe Griff still is a head coach. Guy's 30-13. This makes this a tough decision. This is an assessment and evaluation for myself, Peter, and our ownership group. And how do we give this team the best resources to maximize this window? And it's way more about that and way less about what Griff did or didn't do.
That was a good answer.
Jamal?
I know you mentioned you can't talk about sort of the next coach, but just considering the time before the playoffs and such, obviously you made the move today, but like, what gives you confidence there is enough time? What kind of conversation you had with kind of the next coach about having enough time to leave an imprint on this team come playoff time and still make a run at a championship this season?
Generally speaking, NBA players, the NBA system to me is incredible. Like how they can transition, adapt, and adjust on the fly. You think of players that get traded, changes that happen in season all the time. And so although it's a condensed period of time calendar wise, I think in the world of the NBA and what in particular our really smart, professional, mature players can do, a great coaching staff around them, I believe that there is enough time for them to find an identity, find a rhythm together, and continue to grow. So it may feel shortened, but the things that happen in the NBA happen quick all the time, and transition happens all the time. And I think we'll be well adapted to it.
Hey, John. We heard Giannis make some pretty sharp comments saying, we need to be coached better. To what extent did the players' comments or kind of their input play into this decision?
In fairness, he didn't just say we need to be coached better. So he talked about himself being better, his teammates. I think the equipment manager, the trainer, me, whoever, they kind of went through the whole list. This is not about players' comments. This is not about things said or unsaid. This is my job. This is the organization's job at the top to evaluate every single day, all areas of the organization, and feel like whether we're getting or not getting the most that we can out of that group. And we feel like we could maximize the talent of this group better if we made a change. That's why we made it.
That's a really fair point.
Jon, can you at least say what you are looking for in a new head coach that you did not have with Adrian Griffin?
Yeah, no surprise. We're trying to find, and you said we didn't have an Adrian Griffin. I'm not going to comment. What we're looking for now is a path to go forward to maximize this group from a leadership perspective and experience perspective. We want to try to bring in a coach that can really take us to the next level where we think we can go with this group. And again, that's not just about coaching. The players have to be better. They have to improve. My group has to continue to figure out how to improve their roster, but we think coaching is an element for us to get better.
You mentioned being unafraid to be wrong, if you will, but what was the conversation like for you to go to ownership, to have potentially a third head coach under contract in just a few months, and especially in such a short time after, I'm sure, having to convince them or have them go through the process of hiring? What was that like? And
ownership,
I guess,
one of the first.
Where's that support level or to do that, I guess, financially too?
Yeah, I think it's less about a conversation or conversations. Those are hard decisions. Those are hard discussions when they happen or have to happen. But the last part's where I'll kind of focus, Jim. It's way more about this ownership's group, Jimmy and Diaz on Wes Edens, Jamie Dinan, Peter's support, my ability to lead and be part of this organization, to continue to try to push and do everything we can to resource this team. And it's a belief in those guys. It's the guys that are going to go out tonight and they play the Cleveland Cavaliers that have played every single night. We believe in this team at a super high level, and we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can every step of the way. And that changes. It's not the same every day. And you have to have a pulse for that, and you have to explore that, and you have to learn from that. And then if needed, you need to make bold decisions. And they've been unafraid and have supported us in doing it along the way. And so I'm thankful for that.
I love Jon Horst.
Back here, Jon, kind of what was some of your conversations with the players once you made a decision? I'm assuming, forgive me for assuming that maybe you met with the team in that sense. And then do you have a timetable on when you want to have that next head coach here with the team?
Yeah, good questions. It's fast, like the pace of these things are fast. And so you do the best you can to communicate to folks real time so they can hear it from you, whether it's text message, phone calls, maybe you see them in person. So that's a little bit scattered. I had an opportunity today, which was intentional, to get with the guys as a group before shoot around. And it's point blank. You just share the facts, share the status of where we're at, why we did what we did, how we support them, what our process looks like going forward. And those were great conversations. It was a great opportunity to do it. I hope they appreciated it. I think it's the right thing to do. And timing wise going forward, I think we'll be as urgent and as quick as we can to try to transition. Joe is in place. Joe's a pro. He's done this before. We have total confidence in his ability to help us in this transition. He's also fully aware that he's an interim coach at this point, and we're trying to hire a head coach.
What over the years kind of gave you the belief that you could act decisively in this moment? You obviously knew you were bringing in a first-time head coach. You knew that there could be ups and downs, there could be growing pains, but you end up coming to this decision. What kind of gave you the conviction to do so? And
did you say what throughout the year?
Over the years, I guess, just to get to this spot, to be able to work that quickly.
That's a great question. I think that's something that's maybe innate and learned over time. And you have to have a great dynamic with the people you work with and for, and you have to have great partnership, and you have to have great trust. And so having the right conversations, having the appropriate amount of patience, the appropriate amount of assessment and evaluation, and being able to collectively get together and figure out a path forward. And that's not specific to this. That's whether you're making a big trade, you're making a hiring or a firing. And so I think it's way more about just kind of the dynamic in I would say the culture, to be a little cliche, of our group at the top. We have a great ownership group. Peter and I have a great dynamic. And I think that's really kind of what would speak to it.
Let's do here to Lori and then Melanie.
Just to clarify a few things, I think you said the players' comments had nothing to do with your decision. But did you consult any of the players before you made? No. Because you did went through the hiring process, but not. Okay. And then it's been widely reported that he didn't have the locker room or he lost the locker room. I wondered if you agreed with that assessment, not just because of what things were revealed publicly, but there were a lot of players who, whether they spoke up at a podium or said, there's no structure, things like that. Do you think Griffin, even in the 118 days, did he have the locker room or did he lose the locker room? Thank you.
Yeah, Laura, I'm glad you asked, because honestly, kind of going through this in the last however many hours, my biggest frustration with kind of the aftermath is that that's the narrative. That's not my opinion. Doesn't mean that I'm right or wrong, but my opinion, my assessment, the ownership's assessment in going through this was an assessment that he lost the locker room, that there was dysfunction, that there was players that were jumping off a ship like that. That's just not our assessment. I believe, and I truly mean this, that's the story. Everyone's trying to look for a bigger story than that. We have an opportunity to get better and we want to get better. And we think that we have a chance to do that. And so they're trying to look at things that in my mind are relatively common throughout the course of an NBA season and most NBA teams and generate stories out of it. And in my opinion, that's just not really the true narrative. Did some of those things exist? Absolutely. Is that uncommon in the NBA? Now it's almost 20 years I've been doing this. It happens all the time. So I'm really frustrated by that.
Jon Horst calling us a clickbait. I love it.
Adrian Griffin did a hell of a job. He's an incredible person. I believe he's going to be a very good coach going forward. This was a chance for us to resource our team in a different way after it changed from when we hired him. And that's why we did it.
Listening to live coverage of Jon Horst's press conference at Fiserv Forum on the Drew and KB program.
Game with the new change, how do you feel like they will respond to that and play tonight?
I'm not a crystal. I have no idea. I think our guys are really focused and they're really professional. And I think more than anything, they're looking forward to play Cleveland after what happened the last time we played them. And I think we'll have a great response. Their response to what's going on in the moment is appropriate, in my opinion. They're excited about going forward, as they should be. We all are. And I think they're compassionate and they have real feelings and sincerity toward a coach who gave everything to them and who was a really good person and really helped them be where they are today. And so I think that's the general sentiment of the team in terms of how that manifests itself against Cleveland tonight. I hope with a win. All right. Thanks, everybody.
There you have
it. And people really got to give more credit to Jon Horst. And like you said, on not just Bucks fans' landscapes, but just the national landscape. Jon Horst, for him to navigate all of that and to leave with questions answered, his reasoning explained, and his reputation, the player's reputation, and Adrian Griffin's reputation all intact, that takes a well-spoken person. So I have absolutely nothing but the utmost respect for Jon Horst. Absolutely nothing but the utmost respect.
Yeah, he did a really good job, man. First of all, he took accountability for everything that happened. He didn't throw Griffin under the bus. He didn't want to talk about Doc, understandably so. They probably want to do a press conference introducing him as the coach, which is the right thing to do. Yep. I know there's going to be a lot of people that are bummed about it because we all are wondering what's going on with Doc. How did this all happen? Blah, 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 right? There's going to be a million questions.
Yep.
But the thing that I think I always appreciate most about Jon Horst is his ability, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, his ability to just – he just has a gut feeling. I don't know how else to explain it, man, but he just gets like a gut feeling on when to do something, when to pull the trigger on something. Trade this guy, fire this guy, get this guy, pull this guy and work this guy. I'm like, this guy, and it would be really, really hard. And I mean this with respect to everybody. It would be really hard to rank the GMs in this state.
I totally agree with you.
We have some fucking good GMs, dude.
And I would let me throw in Chris McIntosh as the AD at Wisconsin.
He would serve as Wisconsin's GM, right?
Yeah.
And he's done a tremendous job getting Luke Fickell. Look at the excitement around the football team. The basketball team looks amazing.
Mike
the men's
Hastings,
and women's
the hockey team.
The volleyball team has been tremendous.
Man.
I mean, there's just a lot of things that are just going good for those Wisconsin Badgers right now. And then you think about the Packers, where they're at. I mean, Goot took a leap of faith drafting Jordan Love. And he took a leap of faith.
Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams in back-to-back years.
And you know what? I was going to say this on Friday, but if this Packers team played last year's Packers team, they'd beat their ass.
Oh, they'd beat the shit out of them.
They would beat their ass.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Like strictly just from a mentality standpoint, they would beat the hell out of them.
Yeah. Youth talent, man.
And then the Brewers, to be in a sport like baseball with no salary cap, and for Arnold to work his way through that and keep star players here and sign guys like Hoskins, I mean, that's big boy stuff. Trading for Mark Hanna, that was a brilliant move. Trading for Carlos Santana, that was a really, really good move. That was just a smart baseball.
And their drafting over the last 4 years has been amazing.
Right. I mean, you can just
Extending
go down
Churio.
the list. Yeah, dude. And Tyler Black and Mizorowski, and there's going to be so many good players in the next 5 years for the Milwaukee Brewers that are just good. We're going to have an insane roster, dude. And we didn't even bring up guys like Weimer and Mitchell. And Frelick, and I mean, there's a lot of guys that we already have up. I mean, he made a trade for Contreras, which was a monster trade. I mean, we got Joel Payamps. I mean, we have Devin Williams, one of the best closers in baseball, and the Milwaukee Brewers. I mean, there's just so many things that we could say about all the GMs from this state. For us being a small state and kind of overlooked, and everybody always hates us, and it doesn't matter, man. We're Wisconsin, dude, and these GMs make sure of it, and I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jon Horst is the cream of the crop, and it's nothing but class. Brad said, I missed the press conference. Is Doc in or out? It sounds like Doc is in, but they're not going to introduce him in the same press conference that they're going to talk about firing Griffin. So it sounds like they're he did mention Doc, but he said he was not going to talk about Doc today. So it sounds like to me that Doc is hired, but he's not being introduced today, which I respect. You give Adrian Griffin his respect. And then you give Doc Rivers his own press conference and be like, we are now here presenting Doc Rivers, and you do them separately. I like doing it that way. So I would guess probably tomorrow or Friday would be my guess, because it sounded like they were, the reporters started asking questions like for the next head coach, not saying when you have Doc Rivers, when you introduce Doc Rivers, but they're asking him like for the next head coach. He said things like, we want to do this quickly, expeditiously, and fast. So I would expect probably tomorrow as early, maybe, or they'll announce tomorrow that Friday they're going to announce him, and then maybe Friday night will be his first game on the bench. But
can you imagine Jon Horst's phone for the next 2 weeks, including like yesterday, right? With everything he's had to do, all the okay, we did this, spreading the news, talking to this guy about this trade, talking to this guy about this trade, talking to Doc Rivers about coaching the Bucks. I mean, dude, his phone has to consistently be plugged in, or he has more than one phone. There's no other way around.
Probably got more than one phone. But I would love to see like a sequel to Moneyball about Jon Horst's last year.
Dude, wouldn't that be something?
Man. Maybe we could come up with a really shitty B-movie version of it.
I'm with it.
I'll see what we can do. But I want to thank everybody for sticking around with us. The Bucks play tonight. They play Friday. They play Saturday and Monday. So that said, I got to talk with Jake a little bit more, but I do think we are at least considering doing a watch party for that Nuggets game on Monday. We will definitely give information if we're going to do that for sure. And then other than that, again, I want to thank everybody who was willing to donate, whether it was fantasy football winnings or just donating money or getting in on the 50-50 raffle for my trip to the Senior Bowl. I am very appreciative for that, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. And then again, thanks everybody who commented today, yesterday when we did the live about Adrian Griffin, and thanks everybody for watching, and we will be back on Friday night.
Yes, sir. Take care. Go Bucks.